So what the heck is going on? We're in the middle of an obesity epidemic. I don't need to tell you about it. So why don't these people know the answer to this fundamental question? Because not one of them was right, and we do know the answer. This is not groundbreaking stuff I'm about to tell you. So let me just remind you of a few things you do know. What's the chemical formula for water? H2O. Chemical formula for carbon dioxide? You all know it. Right, so you know what human fat is made of. So what is the chemical formula for human fat? There is such a thing, believe it or not. It's been known since the 60s. It's C55H1O4O6. That's the chemical formula for the average fat molecule in a human body. Some of the molecules might have a few more carbon atoms and a few more hydrogens. Some might have less. They all have just 6 oxygen atoms. That's very important and helpful for later. But this is the average fat molecule, C55H1O4O6. So let's be very clear about this. The difference between that and that is C55H1O4O6. I kid you not. And the difference between that and that, same thing, C55H1O4O6. So how does this stuff get out of a human body? Well, here's the general equation. Looks pretty sort of interesting, slightly complicated. Not if you've done some Year 10 chemistry, surely. This is Year 10 chemistry, although, well, it's not really, but here's what it says. Fat plus oxygen gives you carbon dioxide and water. That's what it becomes. And this, biochemists have known this for ages. You inhale that, you exhale that, that's what happens to it. Amazing. Now, that little arrow there is kind of oversimplifying something called biochemistry. That's 3 years at university. And my apologies to the biochemists. I don't mean to oversimplify, but I'm trying to get to the crunch. It's really complicated. It doesn't just come out of you for no reason. You've got to do stuff. Eat less, move more. We'll come to that in a minute. But look, when you want to lose weight, you want to lose kilograms. That's all kilograms, all that stuff there. So why do people say heat? It burns up as energy, because that's what we've been telling them all this time. And it's very confusing because energy has different units, kilojoules, or you might use calories. And yes, that's heat, that's motion when you move, or it's thinking, your brain needs energy, or it's growing. But that's not where the fat goes. So what are we talking about here? Well, let me just show you a couple more things. So I've got some carbon dioxide here in its frozen form. We call it dry ice. It's carbon dioxide. It has mass. Thing is, you're not used to seeing it. But here's some dry ice. And it's heavy. And if you put it in water, lo and behold, it does this cool thing and bubbles. Like you've all seen that before. Well, that's carbon dioxide and water. That's what fat is kind of made out of. But it's not fat. I'm not making fat. That is not fat. So how does that become fat? Well, it doesn't just like that. It becomes sugar first. Plants make fat. Well, they start the whole thing. A plant takes 6 molecules of carbon dioxide and 6 molecules of water, uses an amazing chemical called chlorophyll, holds them together, and then sunlight comes in and it binds those molecules together, and it becomes sugar. C6H12O6 is glucose. Fructose, same formula, C6H12O6. Sucrose is glucose plus fructose stuck together minus an H2O molecule, so it's, do the maths, C12H22O5. Right, well, here's some. This is sucrose. Plants make it. And it's this stuff joined together. It's now got chemical energy holding these molecules together so they don't just fly around like that. And by the way, if you drink that, 600 ml of lemon-flavoured soft drink, you'll get 17 teaspoons of this stuff are in there. I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Right. So if you drink that, it's the equivalent of doing what I just did with a spoon, except munching it all down. Exactly the same, no difference. So if you do that, then what happens? Well, let me explain something else that I've been telling kids for a little while, and they get this. So when you eat food, it's not in your body straight away. If you swallow that sugar, it's not in you yet. So here's a pool noodle, right? It's got a hole running through it. And here's an almond. And if I put the almond in there, it can go all the way through and out the other end. Whoop-de-doo. Here's another almond. If I put an almond in here, where's the almond? You would say the almond's in the pool noodle. Okay, but is it in the foam that the pool noodle is made of? No, of course not. It's just in the hole that runs through it. That's food. You swallow food, it's not in you. It's in the hole that runs from here to the back door. And getting food into you is called digestion. So with this stuff, you've got to break the bond that's holding the fructose to the glucose. And as soon as you do that, then that stuff can cross the barrier, your internal skin, and into your body, and then it can go around in your blood. That's digestion. But now, it's not metabolism yet. It's got to go into your cells and then you've got to burn it up. And if you don't burn it up, if you eat all that sugar after you've had your 3 meals in the day, your body doesn't waste it, doesn't come out here. The stuff that comes out the back door was never in you. Apart from a few molecules of cholesterol, it's just fibre that you couldn't digest, plus the bacteria that live in your gut. You lose about 500 billion of those in one single sitting. They're tiny. That's many times the population of the Earth. Every time you flush the toilet. It's amazing. But that stuff was never really in you. So here's what happens. If you don't then metabolize that sugar, well then it's going to get converted into the stuff that we all have a problem with, fat.